On this episode of That Carolina Guy, I'm diving back in with another band, another album that really formed me as a youth, folks. A great album. We're talking April 1987. We're talking Testament's first album, The Legacy. Before we get into this album, folks, subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. Hit that bell notification to be notified of future videos like these. Pound that like button. And hey, folks, leave me some comments. I sure love the dialogue. All right, folks, it was April of 1987. It was a time in my life, 20 years old. Music was very important. Look at a band like Testament. Now, kind of set this up. Testament was originally called The Legacy, but there was a jazz fusion band in the Bay Area of San Francisco at the time, I believe, and they didn't want any problems. They didn't want any confusion. They needed to change the band. So Billy Milano, who was the lead singer for a band called Stormtroopers of Death, and that's one I can do on my own too, because they had an album called Speak English or Die, which was classic, told him to come up with the name Testament. I thought it would stick and ring true. Now, the lineup stayed intact, but the lead singer was Steve Souza, and I believe he has since died. May he rest in peace. But he left the band right when they were trying to hit it big and went to go with Exodus. You got to understand the reason why he left to go for Exodus is because Exodus was on the precipice. When you look at the big four, Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, and Anthrax, if there was another band that would have been included in the big four, it would have been the big five, it would have been Exodus. They never had the acclaim the other four bands did, but many people in the Bay Area especially felt that that band deserved to be right along there with them. And they are a good band. They just didn't get the notoriety of these other bands did. So when Steve Souza goes and leaves Testament and goes to Exodus, they pick up a guy by the name of Chuck Billy. Well, I'm so glad he did, because Chuck Billy's voice is incredible. Now, the only reason I brought up Steve Souza is because this first album by Testament, The Legacy, the songs primarily, all of them but two, were written by Steve Souza. Now, where does this album stack up with other Testament albums? Well, they did The New Order, the second album. I think they did Practice What You Preach. They had some other albums, Souls of Black. By then, they started getting weak. I started losing interest. Now, you know, it's true on The New Order and Practice What You Preach, the sound was crisper, clearer, production better, great tight sounds. It didn't have that underground rawness, that energy, that deep, dark, staticky type of sound that the album The Legacy had. And then, of course, as you go on to an album like Ritual, and I believe that's the name of the album, or it might have been called The Legacy. No, not The Legacy, The Ritual. It might have been called, I think it was called Ritual. But anyway, it was an album that had the songs Trail of Tears. It had a song called Dog Face Gods. Just some really, really good songs on that album that kind of brought them back to where they were before they started going downhill. But the problem was no album in Testament's genre is going to live up to The Legacy, the greatest album that they ever did. It was an awesome album. 38 minutes and 45 seconds. Right up there with Slayer's Rain and Blood. It just pounds you, and hits you. Now, the 9 songs on that album, to me, song number 9, the 9th best song on the album, was the 4-track Raging Waters. Very good song. Don't take me wrong. Very, very good. It's just probably my least favorite of all the songs on the album. Song number 8 would be the 5th track, C.O.T.L.O.D. And this is a song Souza did not write. Curse of the Legions of Death. Curse of the Legions of Death. Great, great song. It's number 8 in my category, though. Here are the 9 songs on the album. Song number 7 was a very melodic song. Had a lot of melody to it. Chuck Billy pulled it off very good. It was the 8th track on the album, called Alone in the Dark. A very good song to sing to. Wasn't quite as heavy, but it was a very, very good song. Song number 6 on this album would have been track number 6, First Strike is Deadly. That's a really, really awesome song too. It hits really hard. The thing is, I can't rank it higher because these other songs on this album to me are better. Now, the 3rd track on the album is called Burnt Offerings. That to me is the 5th best track on this CD. It's an awesome song, folks. It really is. It doesn't get enough play. I think it's very underrated. And The fourth track is number 7. It's the other song by Steve Souza that he did not write, Do or Die. I believe Alex Skolnick helped write this song for Testament, and he's the guitar player. But Do or Die was a great, fast-paced song. The third best song is the last track on here, Apocalyptic City. I can feel the fire burn inside of me. Burn. And I can't sing, folks, but it's just a great song. The lyrics are incredible. The build up, the bite to the song, Come On and Fight, just a great song. And that's the third best song on the album. Now, to me, the best song they ever did is my second favorite song on this album. And then you're going to think, well, my God, how can that be? Well, this is the most important song to them. This is the video they did. This is what got people, wow, the video was awesome. The production, what the song's talking about is called Over the Wall. It's talking about Alcatraz and escaping. And you remember, these guys were from the Bay Area, so that it's home in that area. But Over the Wall was incredible. It had a darkness, a dinginess, a underground sound, and it just had this raw edge to it. It was incredible. It's the best song they ever did. It just happens to be my second favorite track because I got a song number 1 that's, to me, it's just the most underrated song they ever did. And the number 1 song to me was the second track called The Haunting. Some people, it's not even in their top 5 or 6 songs off the whole 9-song album, but it is my favorite by far. I love The Haunting. It just builds. It's the way the music goes in and out, the drumming and the guitaring, and you're talking about Chuck Billy with his vocals in that song, just a great song. But folks, The Legacy by Testament is the one album they got. None of their other albums can touch. And don't get me wrong, I love some of their other albums, but some of their other albums may only have 2 or 3 songs I prefer. Even like with The Ritual, as we get later on with these guys, just 2 or 3 songs I liked and others I didn't. But this whole album here, there's not a bad song on it. The whole album rocks. So folks, what do you think? Is Testament a band you like? Do you have a band that you prefer, that you think that a lot of people look at them and don't understand the love that you have for them? Leave me some comments. Pound that like button. Hit that bell notification to be notified of future videos like this. And by all means, folks, subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. We'll see you on another episode of That Carolina Guy.